I'm coming out to Denver. You're going to pick your favorite restaurant. I'm going to reserve a table. I want you to invite 3 people, whether dead or alive, who've been influential in your life, made that difference, were their mentor. And for me, I want you to order food for the table. What food would you order?
Oh, jeepers, Wally.
Hmm.
The first thing that comes to mind is, depending upon the vibe, either I'm going to take us to this awesome barbecue joint where all you need is a spoon and a Coke, um, or I'm going to take you to one of my favorite Mexican joints, and we're going to eat like kings for $12. Um, I don't like, I my wife and I love to cook, and we can do some fancy things, but it's grandma food that makes us happy. Um, so it would be something that is delicious and unassuming. And top of my mind, my 3 partners would be um, the science fiction writer Philip K. Dick, and then let's throw in Thomas Aquinas, and while we're at, let's do Ferdinand Magellan.
What a table.
Join my free community where you can network and grow with other entrepreneurs and business owners. Learn how I've used my podcast to scale my business 10 times. Link is in the description.
Welcome, everyone, to Doing Business with a Servant's Heart podcast. I'm your host, Steve Ramona, and one word, curious. You ever curious? And if you reach into that screen that you're listening to, whether it's a computer or a phone or a tablet, you are curious. But everybody has the ability to do it, and you are doing it. How much, how, where? We're going to talk about that today, and there's much more to it than that. My guest is wonderful. You can hear some great things. But let's start with some positivity or gratitude for today. You're not alone in this journey. I always will be here to cheering you on. And I will be. You reach out. If you need cheering, I can help you with that, whether it's a text, an email, whatever it may be. But do the same with other people. Cheer them on. Don't be afraid to go, Joe Smith, fantastic video, and put a check mark. Social media, whatever it may. We intertwine these actions, these activities. The world's going to be a better place. And I think that should be our ultimate goal. With that being said, let's bring our wonderful guest on. Jonathan, welcome to the show.
Hey, Steve, thank you so much for having me.
Curiosity. You mentioned that as, your superpower. How do you incorporate that in your business?
Every step of the way. If you're not, well, when you have assumptions, not only is it starting you off on a bad foot, it's also giving you mental and emotional blinders to all the options that could be there. So much as they say, uh, you you find what you're hunting for. But if you're not expecting to find something, then all of a sudden there's this realm of possibilities. So winding back to when I was a much smaller, younger person, I was that kid that asked too many questions and annoyed everybody because I wanted to know and still want to know everything. And when I was 11 years old, I saw this movie called Raiders of the Lost Ark. And I said, okay, that looks like fun. Can I find some way to become Indiana Jones in my own way? And I did. I was a photojournalist for over 30 years, and I saw the breadth of the world, the breadth of humanity. I'm based here out of Denver. I started where my home was initially in Detroit, and I covered the Rocky Mountain region for pretty much everybody. Albuquerque to Canada, Salt Lake City to Kansas City was pretty much my territory. So if somebody was interesting, if somebody was doing something interesting, I got sent to go and explore. And there was no ability to micromanage what I did. They just basically said, okay, go have fun. And I did. And so I had the most extraordinary good and the extraordinary bad experiences, which has given me this massive perspective on life and humanity and the world. But it's always a matter of, I have no idea what I'm going to find. Cool. Let's see what happens. Let's get inside. Let's peel back the onion and learn more and ask lots of questions. And when I started getting more commercial work and then started doing video work, it was all the same thing. The people that were hiring me needed to talk to other people they could not meet in person. How can we get them to be interested in this? Because that's what I've been doing forever. If the New York Times or Reuters sent me out to do something, my purpose was to make somebody way over there become curious about somebody or something way over here. And then I would use all my variety of skills to turn that curiosity into real attention so that they are emotionally driven to explore that world because now it means something to them. How do I turn how do I turn curiosity into attention and take them on a journey? And I began to realize that my real superpower was turning that curiosity along with my creativity and my ability to do method and analysis in a broader sense so that my clients who are really, really good at what they do, but they are terrible at explaining their true power, their true relationship, their true transformation into the language of the people who need them. And that requires a lot of stuff. And so what I end up telling all of my clients is, pull up the web pages of your three main competitors. And you'll notice that they pretty much all look and sound alike. And that's the problem that your next best customer has. They don't see the subtleties that you do because that's your field. They know enough to need you, and after that it gets kind of weird. Well, silly. Stop saying the same stuff. Tell them what they want to know, how they want to know it, in their language. Remove all the things that they don't care about. Highlight the experiences that they want to have. Well, to me, that's just really simple. But to everybody else, it makes them say, well, why don't we do it this way? I don't know, because they don't.
Yeah.
But as I was saying before we started the show, I reverse think, I reverse engineer, I turn everything upside down. If this is the way we're all supposed to do it, what happens if we do it backwards? Does it make it better? Does it make it worse? Try it out. Oh, hey, what do you know? We're onto something. Rather than my client saying, here's what I want to say, I end up saying, okay, let's not make that assumption. Let's assume that we know nothing. Let's learn. Let's be curious. Let's ask a lot of really silly questions that gets us to something where we can say, oh, I didn't know that. Tell me more. Oh, so that's really what I do? Yes, this is what you really do. And then we have some way to get their curiosity, turn that into something powerful that both sides of that equation benefit from. My client gets more customers, and those customers get a better solution that more aligns with what they really, really need. Well, to me, that's just a win. But you got to do that by asking questions and assuming that everything that you've done to this point isn't quite right.
Questions are a key. Podcasting, marketing, family, across the board, and people aren't asking enough questions. So you've given us a great groundwork journey of curiosity. People listening, I know I can see their heads right now going, okay, Jonathan, this is great. How do I up-level my curiosity?
Well, stop trying to be an adult. You got to tap into your little kid. When I realized many years ago that my best work happened when I was essentially about 6 years old internally. 6 is a great age to be because you're socialized, thank you and please, and tie your shoes and don't talk to strangers. but you haven't been beaten down by society to stop asking silly questions and believe in silly things. And that's when they send you off to school, because you're old enough to be, on your own and not do stupid stuff, but you can still be the sponge for information.
Yeah.
So when you're 6, you can say things like, hey, Steve, let's go and wander around in the woods. Maybe there are giants. Maybe we can make friends with giants. Let's go do that, right? But once you get to be about 9 or 10, society starts saying, stop, stop, stop. Act your age. No more of that silly stuff. Be a big person now. And then you start to learn what you're not allowed to do, what you're not allowed to say, what you're not allowed to think, feel. So if you can you can tie into that little kid where every day is magic and it's full of possibilities and everybody's your friend. But you don't do stupid things because you're now the adult that is just outside, that kid's realm to keep him from falling off the bridge. Then you are in the world of nearly infinite possibilities, and everything is interesting. Everything is fun. Everything is beautiful. And not everything ends up going the way you want, but you're truly living in the now. So when I'm working, when I'm living, I try to stay like that little kid.
Great piece of advice. Simple too. Just think back. And you can chat GPT it or Claude it, whatever you want to do. Just say, treat me like a 6-year-old. It's amazing. Now we got this tech, we could do that. So storytelling, you've talked about, you mentioned stories. Mm-hmm. What makes a truly compelling story?
There's a lot of ways to answer that. For me, you can't start with something expected. You have to have something that is automatically different, but at the same time appealing. Sometimes not, depends. A lot of horror stories start with a jump scare. That works. But you can't just have jump scares. That doesn't take you on a journey. That's why a good horror movie is more about ongoing dread than just boo, because boo is momentarily. You can start with boo, and then you have to then move it on. So a good story begins with something that the audience automatically finds interesting. And I ran across this quote a while ago that is so wonderful and universal. You have to understand your audience. And that's part of the problem. A lot of people, whether it's their marketing or their sales pitch or talking to somebody in the elevator, isn't taking into consideration who they're talking to. And the quote is, building a presentation without taking into consideration your audience is much akin to beginning a love letter with, to whom it may concern. It's not really going to hit hard. So, first thing, say you're telling a joke. Who's the audience? Is it your bus driver? Is it your grandpa? Is it the CEO? Is it the judge? That changes everything. So that's why I say I take it backwards. Most marketing and sales and such is projecting from the office out. This is what we want to say. This is our message. Rather than saying, okay, well, we're giving a new presentation to a different company that is a slightly different culture. How can we explain ourselves in a way that makes them lean in and say, oh, I haven't heard this before. Tell me more. Because if you do what you've always done, yes, you're consistent, but you're not taking each individual as an individual. So the research that I do for my clients is based upon having their most aligned clients tell me their story. So then I can find the commonalities to say, okay, you can't service as many people in the world that want what you do. which means you have your choice. Work with the people you most want to work with. Learn their language, learn their experience that they've had with you so that you can then explain that to other people. They can say, oh, I want some of that. I didn't know we could do it that way. And then you have more than enough people who are eager for you because they do not see you as a commodity. But you can only do that if you say, how do you want me to serve you? How do you want me to speak to you? How do you want to be treated? We all, going back to being 6, we all know the golden rule. Do unto others as you would have done unto you,
Yep.
which is lovely if the entire world is you, but it's not. Do unto others as they want to be done unto them.
You're bringing
You gotta get yourself
curiosity
out of there.
back. Yeah, but
Yeah.
you're bringing curiosity to your audience. It's pretty powerful.
Mhm,
Audience, I
mhm.
know you're entrepreneurs, founders, successful business owners. What a great tip. Go out and send a survey to your audience, your clients, your customers, patients.
Talk to them.
Yeah.
If anything, you can do a bunch of low-level stuff just by
Mm.
asking questions. Do you have a method to follow up after the sale, after the meeting? And just say, hey, George, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. By the way, why did you choose us? What was the best part of the experience? And also, is there any way that we could do it in a way that would make it smoother for you, that make you even more excited to do that kind of thing? You know, not everybody wants us to fill out surveys, but those kinds of things. But what I recommend is don't have them fill in the blank.
Mm.
Which of these 3 options? Because then that's limiting. Simply give them little essays. Could you write down some stuff about your experience? Let them write their thoughts so that it's open-ended. And not everyone's going to be Shakespeare or Hemingway.
Oh.
But at least you give them the openness to project into that empty space. And I think
Yeah.
that's one of the problems that we have, certainly in a lot of classical marketing, is they're trying to figure out how to reach everybody in certain kinds of ways. The classic, the madman focus group, right? You get a bunch of people together in a room and you say, which of these 3 slogans means more to you? Rather than doing what I do, which is one-on-one, independently, talk to each of those dozen people and say, how do you feel about my client? How do you feel about their product? How do you feel about their service? And then figure out in total what resonates.
You're different. Finds out how you can be different because they could
Yeah.
go, here's your 3 competitors. They did this and this. What you do is this, Jonathan. And then boom,
Yeah.
check and go, okay, we need to focus on whatever the XYZ that is. So these stories need to be authentic and genuine as well, because you'll get caught, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. One of the things that dawned on me a while ago is that when I was doing journalism, the real stuff back in the day, we had an incredibly tight ethical set of guidelines of if you couldn't show that it was data, then you had to say, this is what somebody said. This is someone's opinion. There's a big difference between facts and opinion, that you do not get in the way of overtly modifying someone's reaction to you. Now, when I was running around, with my cameras telling the stories, we tried really, really hard to be invisible in plain sight, but never, ever, ever were we allowed to ask anybody to do anything. Couldn't change anything other than be present. Well, that kind of ethic has carried with me. And so, when I said earlier, I work for good people who do good things, period. I will not sell ice cubes to Eskimos. I will not be a minion for evil. I do not care how fat the invoice is. That's for other people. I'm here to help. And part of the help is it has to be absolutely true. We're not going to say or do anything or show anything that isn't what you say, what you do as reflected. We're not going to, we're not going to have a dramatic reenactment.
That's good. I like that.
Right?
Yeah.
Because part of the thing that, going back to what makes a good story, there has to be some kind of conflict, there has to be some kind of drama for there to be a transformation. Well, if we're talking about a real transformation that my client, that you have done, it doesn't have to be life and death. It has to be, I have a problem, someone come save me. We don't have to amp that up. We can see when it's being amped up for dramatic flair. But if the emotion coming out of the person that I put on camera is real and you can't fake that, then it may not be a life and death situation, but you can feel the impact. And that's why when I go out and I put my customers' people on camera, I put them on camera. It's a closed door, one-on-one, me and them conversation for 45 minutes or an hour. And we talk about substantive things. And I will often open the user experience piece with something that somebody said that factually is important to the story, but emotionally is more important. And I've got a presentation that I do about this, because, I can do an interview on the phone and I can write that down. I can do a thing on Zoom and I can record that. I can take a great quote and I can say, oh, this is awesome. We can put this on your website. We can put this as a lead for your LinkedIn post. This is a great quote. But we don't just have the words. We have her voice. And let's type back her voice. Aha. You can hear the energy when she says that. But we don't just have the audio. We've got the video.
Yeah.
Let's play back the video.
Visual.
And you then see her eyes go, it changed everything. Oh, I'm sorry, unless you are an award-winning actor, you cannot make somebody, a normal person, do that. That is what she did. That's how she felt. And you open with something that is true and emotionally impactful to them, you're going to have an emotional reaction to that. And then after that, it's like, oh, yeah. I want some of that. Tell me more.
Yeah. And then it goes viral, and the trust building. And the power you're doing is trust building, and that makes you more money, because they go to 3 companies and you're one of them. One's $50 and one's $100, you're $200. You built the trust into the wow factor with the video and the verbal.
And the trust thing is going back to the fundamental thing of, unless you are truly a one and done, there's no service after the sale, it's drop shipped, have a nice day. There is a relationship that happens. It's leading up to the sale, leading up to the service, and there's always some kind of after effect. You need to reorder or something. The human element of that relationship is the unspoken thing. Everybody says we got great service. Everybody says, our customers are happy, blah, blah, blah. Okay, don't tell it, show it. Because that is what they're really looking for, except for some very rare circumstances. So the position that I take is that person who's sitting across the table from you in consultation for the first time fits into one of 2 categories. Either it's the first time where they've had to have somebody like you in their world, and they have no idea what to expect. They have a problem, and after that, they're holding on for dear life. They're terrified. But the worst situation is the other guy, where it is not his first rodeo. He's done this before. But something happened so bad with the other people, with the other provider, that now he's talking to you. He's looking for an alternative. So he's been burned. And he's not expecting anything. He's expecting you to be as bad or worse as those guys. So he's bracing for impact. But you're awesome. Neither of them understand how great and smooth and wonderful this is going to be, unless you tell them. That person who could be your next best client is emotionally impaired because they don't know what to expect.
Yeah.
So, as I say, if there's a knock at the door and you look outside and someone's holding a bag of money, what do you do, Steve? You open the door.
Yeah.
You welcome them in. And you give them something from the get-go that reinforces, you're important to me. I understand your situation. I understand how you feel. Don't worry, I got you. Right this way. Can I get you a snack?
Yeah. Servant's heart right there. What? We're coming to the end here. It's exactly the way the servant heart does that. And then, of course, the money comes to you. And we're in business. We need to get money to
wild,
come.
Huh?
Yeah.
Because if you show them how, it's not what you do, but how you do it, with the kind of heart-based thing that we're talking about here, that's worth an extra 10 or 15%. Easily, maybe even double, depending upon, all the factors.
Circumstance variables.
So this is why I say you can do well and do good. It's choice.
Yeah. Yeah. It's very good. Well, let's end with a fun question. We've been a little bit serious in a great way. Audience, you've got a lot of tips. So let's find out about Jonathan a little deeper. So I'm coming out to Denver. You're going to pick your favorite restaurant. I'm going to reserve a table. I want you to invite 3 people, whether dead or alive, who've been influential in your life, made that difference, were their mentor. And for me, I want you to order food for the table. What food would you order?
Oh, jeepers, Wally. The first thing that comes to mind is, depending upon the vibe, either I'm going to take us to this awesome barbecue joint where all you need is a spoon and a Coke, or I'm going to take you to one of my favorite Mexican joints, and we're going to eat like kings for $12. I don't like, my wife and I love to cook, and we can do some fancy things, but it's grandma food that makes us happy. So it would be something that is delicious and unassuming. And top of my mind, my 3 partners would be the science fiction writer Philip K. Dick, and then let's throw in Thomas Aquinas, and while we're at, let's do Ferdinand Magellan.
What a table. That's a very eclectic table. I've not heard something like that. It's powerful. I like it. I like how you think about it. Yeah. Yeah. There you go. Well, thank you for being a wonderful guest, taking the time, inspiring, educating, and motivating the audience. People probably want to connect with you. How can they reach out to you?
Well, you can reach me through my website, which is castner.creative. I am on LinkedIn, and I'm rebuilding some stuff on YouTube, so I'll be sending you the link to that. I can't remember off the top of my head where that is, but there's not a lot of Jonathan Castners out there, so I'm on the easier side of things to find.
I'll make it easy. Again, bringing value to people. We'll throw it all in the show notes, audience. So you can click on it or reach out to me if you need the information. Or like he said, his name is unique. You can probably find him if you just do a search as well. And thanks again, Jonathan and audience.
Absolutely.
Subscribe to the YouTube channel, mine, somebody else's, but take podcasts as gifts. I say this after every show, and people are coming back to me with great comments of, that's so great, because these really are gifts. You send Jonathan out as a podcast and they listen. Maybe they call them, maybe they connect with them, maybe they hire them, but you are impacting them. And that's truly a gift that we need to do. So we talked about the whole show. It's making that impact with curiosity, and then ask questions. So with that being, go ahead.
Don't forget the heart. You got to have the heart.
There you go. What a great way to end the show. Well, me and Jonathan want to thank all of you for watching or listening to this podcast. And we'll see you all in the next episode of Doing Business with the Servant's Heart. Have a great day, everyone.